combination of GT cars, special saloons and rally cars for this 12-lap race. And the car that is obviously attracting all the attention is the one that's on pole position, the new TMC Costin, the Irish-built car on its first ever appearance at a motor race track. And there it is in John Keaney's hands with the Budget Travel sponsorship on pole position for its first ever race. A truly remarkable achievement. Alongside him on the front row of the grid, Morgan Dempsey, who has been racing here for many, many years with his very successful Castrol Midget. And on the outside of the front row, George Crozier, a champion of the saloon car class a few years ago and a visitor from the Northern Ireland with his special saloon. And you can see it's a very lightweight, wide machine indeed. So there it is, 10 laps to go. What can the TMC Costin do on its first ever race? And we've got yellow flags. We seem to have a problem. And there's two people stalled in the front row, two people stationary on the front row of the grid. And it's a crazy situation here. I don't know if the race is going to be restarted. But John Keaney taking full advantage of the situation at the moment.
Yes, amazing. As they came up there, Morgan stopped and George Crozier stopped. Morgan had his hand up to show that his car wasn't running, but Crozier didn't put his hand out, which is very, very dangerous. So we've had a fiasco of a start and we've let John and this new car away. Unfortunately, John's main competition was Morgan. There was less than half a second between them in practice, so it's broken up the race. We've lost the whole front grid with the exception of the pole position man, John Keaney. And that's John there. This is different to the usual car. John usually drove a midget. I was talking to him yesterday. It was the first time he'd driven the car. It's powered by a Ford twin-cam engine, all Ford bits, where he was used to the BMC bits. And John Keaney, number 43 there, and in the background we have some of the rally men. In the white Escort there is Helene O'Neill, and on the inside there, number 25 was the white Chevette of Austin McHale, a very, very fast man. He unfortunately had problems in practice and he had to start from the back of the grid, but I think he has now actually made his way up into third position, so maybe we'll see some sparks from Austin McHale.
Well, after that shambolic start, the race is going on. We thought that we might get a red flag at the end of the first lap, but the race is going on. So I'm afraid it's Dempsey's and Crozier's hard luck, but there's no doubt about it that John Keaney is walking away with this one in the TMC Costin. In second place, John Hayes. And there is the man to really watch, Austin McHale, the rally ace, who started, as Brian said, on the back row of the grid, coming right up through the field. Now, we know that this 240 brake horsepower Chevette is capable of going round here in the 1.4 mark, and look at it, hanging the inside wheel up into the fresh air, and surely John Hayes must be under big threat. In fact, he's giving in, he's waving him through.
Well, I think if I was John and I saw McHale come through on a three-wheeler like that, I'd wave him through too, Alan. There's a good chance McHale can catch him. He's lapped this course in under 1 minute 4 seconds, which is the time that John Keaney did for pole position. As we know, McHale must be the most promising rally driver for a long time to come out of Ireland. The way his car control is unbelievable. He sets it up. He'd want to drive more like a racing car than a rally car, not too much sideways. He needs every second. John isn't going to back off. He'd like to win his first time out in this new car, and what a baptism for it. There he goes. You can see the back end open. Those two silver things in the back. One holds the oil because it's a dry sump engine, and the other is his petrol tank. So very open, and the new Irish sports car on the market.
So he leads. But in second place is the rally car, and it's quite a way behind, as you could see. We couldn't get a glimpse of it there as the camera hung on that corner. So number 43, John Keaney from Leeslip, a very, very experienced mod sports and indeed special saloon driver. There's McHale pulling away from John Hayes. McHale, incidentally, sponsored by Non-Destructive Testing Services, and I would have thought that's a very good thing to put on a rally car, because if ever there was destruction, it is in the highways and byways of Ireland when this car has been flung around on something like the Circuit of Ireland. Beautiful big tail-out slide as he goes on his way, but I don't think he's really gaining on the TMC at the moment. And Keaney really having it all his own way. Very interesting motor car. It's got a 1600 Ford twin-cam engine developing about 160 brake horsepower compared to the 240 brake horsepower of Austin McHale's Chevette behind. But of course the TMC Costin would be a lot lighter, and it's purpose-built for racing, and obviously it's very effective.
Well, all credit must go. That's number one. Dempsey has spun coming up to Dunlop corner. John will now go around him, but unfortunately that's Dempsey really out of the race. Whatever chance he had of catching up after a push start, he's now been lapped. Austin McHale going well, number 25 there. You can see it's about the length of the Mondello straight. He's trying hard. He's gaining only a car length or so per lap, but it's not a long enough race to get it. A Vauxhall Chevette, as Alan said, a lot more powerful than John's Costin, but much, much heavier.
And but certainly some of it is providing the entertainment for the large crowd here at Modello, and Austin McHale really throwing it from lock to lock. But we're back watching John Keaney in the budget travel TMC Costin on its very first outing here at Modello. An Irish-built car, and it's been a long time since we've had a wholly Irish-built car.
This car is what's known as a kit car. It can be bought in kit form, a very popular type of thing in England. There are 4 to 5. McHale there again on picture. Oh, on 2 wheels now. When he touches the curbs like that, it tends to launch the car. But just look at the power of this Vauxhall. Unbelievable. It is so pity that he wasn't there on the front row with John Keaney. I think we would have had a fantastic motor race on our hands. He is actually eating up Morgan Dempsey at the moment, pulling him back 3-4 car lengths per lap.
And just lapping one of the back-marking midgets already. And there he goes. McHale, who's had a tremendous season. He won the Sligo Rally. He was second in the Donegal Rally, and that was only due really to punctures. He had a very unfortunate weekend up there in Donegal in June and put on a superb show. But that's John Keaney with 5 laps to go, half distance now. And once again coming up to driving just in this fashion.
Yes, Austin was telling me he had the car set up for rallying. He tried to soften it a bit. They're usually very, very hard and very high off the ground, but unfortunately he doesn't want to change it too much because it's mainly a rally car. But he's definitely throwing it around there like a seasoned campaigner from Mondello.
There's quite a bit of traffic. There's a couple of the little imps and another Vauxhall Chevette, much less tuned than Austin McHale, just ahead of him. But John Keaney's already got through all this lot with just 3 laps to go. And this is the time when the team back in the pits will be absolutely keeping everything crossed. What a day it'll be for the TMC Costin if it's to win its first ever race. And Francis Costin himself, a very experienced designer who has gone down in the annals of motor racing history, having designed cars for back as far as Sterling Moss and people like that, and really has been in the business for many years. Now a resident in Ireland, and this is the first venture to produce a completely Irish-built car. But McHale, again, there's the entertainment. He's just gone past Mike Armstrong in a much more standard Chevette. He's got one of the imps now on his shopping list, and that should be no difficulty to him.
Yes, McHale here, the power compared to the imp, he just powers by him. He's on his way down again into Shell. I think there's only 2 more laps to go. He's completed his 8th lap, so I think John is a winner all the way unless something happens. There's John Keaney, number 43 there in the budget travel costume. It's good to see a new car. The Mod Sports GT class has been dying slightly in Ireland over the past 2 years, and this is the first really new car into the class. And also the great thing is, as Alan said, it's an Irish-built car, so if we can get 4 or 5 of these out, the quick midgets can live with it, but at least it's a new car and it's a different type of engine. It's a Ford engine compared to the BMC. We may have a revival in the Mod Sports class altogether. Number 20 there, Bernard Foley. That's another, sorry Alan, of Brian Brophy's cars. He's got 2 cars and he's given this car to Bernard Foley. This is his 2nd race, so he's supplying the grid with 2 cars.
And Keaney laps the Hillman Avenger, which has comparatively few races behind it. It belongs to Donald Griffin of the Hillman Avenger. But look at Morgan Dempsey, and this is interesting. Although Morgan isn't in the results at the moment, he's going very quickly indeed, and he's keeping in touch with the TMC Costin. He will be at least one lap down, but it's an interesting yardstick to see how quickly this Costin's going, because Dempsey has been a winner here many, many times, and he's not far behind the Costin on the road now.
Well, Morgan would probably use this as a practice run against the Costin. He knows this is the new opposition in the GT class. John looking very, very relaxed there. It seems to be an easy go. Dempsey, yes, closing rapidly. Now, John could be taking it easy, but it'll be interesting to see if John tries to hold on and keep Dempsey behind. They're old rivals from before. It'll be interesting to see if the Costin really has the legs of the midget now.
So, Dempsey trying to unlap himself at the moment. And what a win, but it's far too late for that, because Keaney takes the checkered flag. John Keaney, the first man ever to win a motor race here at Modelo, out in the TMC Costin for its first time ever with a win. So a real bit of history for a new mark of motor car here on Irish soil.